On today's show, we got 5 things the Dallas Mavericks need to do over the next couple weeks or so. They need to fix the fourth quarter issues. We'll talk about that. And we need Spencer Dinwiddie to be more aggressive. We'll tell you how on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good. And the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. The best way you can help us grow the show to comment anything below. Let us know what's one thing you want to see from the Mavs over the next 6 games, the next couple weeks or so. Let us know. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com. The Seeing Siren, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
You called me Cyrus at first. I was like, oh, man, we're going. We're talking about Con Air, of course.
Wouldn't fit the alliteration.
You want to spend today's pod talking about former Dallas Maverick Steve Nash?
We could, as every NBA show is probably going to do today. Oh my goodness!
What in the world is going on in Brooklyn?
I said this today as everything was going down. I would much rather be arguing about Christian Wood's touches than I would be about whether the Mavs should hire Ime Udoka or not, or whether Steve Nash should have been fired, or whether Kyrie Irving's statements or whatever, if KD still wants to trade, if Ben Simmons can shoot. Like, oh my gosh, what they're doing over at Locked On Nets. They have not had a free week of just like, let's talk about basketball in months.
I don't understand anything about the Nets right now. I don't understand.
They're still in New Jersey, right?
I don't understand how a guy can be suspended and now just accept a new head coaching job.
He wasn't even fired yet. You texted this to me right in the middle of it. You're like, he's still like a part of the Celtics.
Yeah, and I don't understand how he obviously did some stuff that was jacked up, and then hey, he gets 5 weeks off, and now he's just going to be back coaching. He's not even like suspended anymore.
He's not even suspended 5 weeks yet. It's crazy.
It's just a wild situation on top of all the other crap that's going on with the roster. So anyway, seems like a dumpster fire in in Brooklyn and whatever.
But hey, we're hanging out over here, and
I'm happy for world. I'm happy for Steve Nash. He's freed from this.
Yeah.
Still gets paid, I guess, unless it is
guaranteed contracts. Let's go.
Mutual parting of ways.
He got fired.
If he wants to come to Dallas, come to Dallas, Steve Nash. Come be part of
Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley's on the bench like, we'll just keep this one warm for you, Steve. We'll keep this one warm.
Front office, coaching, whatever.
Think about the connections. Dallas connection, Jared Dudley connection. Like, there's some good connections there with Steve Nash. Obviously, Dirk what if Steve Nash becomes an advisor just like Dirk, and they just like walk around together with their little notebooks?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Like Dirk has been doing in training camp. It'd be amazing. So if you want to hear more about the Nets, go listen to Locked On Nets. They put out like 2 episodes today, I think, or 3 or whatever.
Go Adam.
Go check out Adam Armbrecht and Doug Norrie. Great stuff from them. Today, I'm going to tell you 5 things the Mavericks need that we want to see from the Mavericks in the next couple weeks. And so is Isaac. We didn't tell each other what our things are for the most part. And so we do this every once in a while where we're like, all right, what are some things we want to see going forward? And one of the things I want to see is keep a fourth quarter lead. Let's stop collapsing in the fourth quarter, because it has kind of been a really weird thing to watch over this last 6 games in the regular season. The Mavericks have had a lead in every single fourth quarter this year, and they're 3-3. So they've had multiple leads in fourth quarters. Let's say in Phoenix, they had a 15-point lead with 8.5 minutes to go. Against the Pelicans, they had a 7-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Against the Thunder, they had a 16-point lead with 5 minutes and 41 seconds left to go. Against Brooklyn, they had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter, and that one went into overtime. And against Orlando even, they got the win there, but they had a 12-point lead cut to 4 with just under a minute left. Like, they have had these leads collapse on them. Give me, just what do you think is the biggest reason for some of these collapses? I'll give you some of these answers, and we can start walking down some of these paths here. Prevent offense. Seems like when they get a big lead, they kind of go into this prevent offense where they swing the ball around and they don't really stay aggressive. Luka wearing down. Lack of earlier touches for shooters. We've talked about that before where, Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith and Maxey, they don't get any touches in the first quarter, second quarter, and then all of a sudden you're like taking the most important shot of the game in the fourth quarter. Perimeter defense wears down because of how much they have to do. Or paint defense. Mavs still struggle to defend in the paint. Which one of those do you think is the most likely reason?
Oh, gosh.
I know.
Can I lump the last two together and just say defense as a whole?
You can.
I don't think, I think this would be a little different than years past, but I don't think it's a Luka wearing down thing. There hasn't been an end of the game where I feel like, oh man, like Luka's just gassed. He's just so tired out there. I have felt that in years past. I don't feel that right now. I haven't gotten a Luka tired, gassed type of feel yet. The shooters thing, yeah, I could see that a little bit. I think sometimes I do think the prevent offense, and it's more of just like a stagnant offense. I feel like in the fourth at times of, hey, we're just going to revert back to Luka just doing ISO and just like, hey, figure it out and go from there, hunting mismatch instead of like running stuff, keeping everybody moving type of stuff. But I'm going to say defense. I think it's the defense that whether they're getting worn down, whether they're not on the same page, on rotation stuff, I think it's more defensively than it is on offense.
I completely agree. And so I started to look through, all right, what's the Mavericks defensive rating by quarter? Let's just look through it and see if the stats confirm the eye test. In the first quarter, they have 111.5 defensive rating. That ranks 19th in the NBA among teams in the first quarter. So middle of the pack, not great. Not a good first quarter defensive team. The JaVale McGee thing, you talked about it yesterday. We referenced it. He does not look as good as we thought. It's been a little bit harder to acclimate him to the defensive system than we expected. Second quarter, 101.4 defensive rating. This is points allowed per 100 possessions. So let's say the second quarter was 100 possessions, which is like the length of a normal game normally. They would be third. So they have the third best defense in second quarters. Third quarter, 107.3, seventh best defense. So incredible defense in the second and third quarter. Get ready for the fourth quarter.
Oh, I'm ready.
118.7.
Woo!
That's the 26th ranked defense in fourth quarters. The Mavericks have 118.5 offensive rating in fourth quarters, which is incredible. That's top 10. Top 10 fourth quarter offense right now. But they have a negative net rating because their defense is so bad in the fourth quarter. So the stats back up the eye test here where the defense has just been really bad in fourth quarters.
Dang. I didn't know those.
That split is so stark. Like literally a top 5 defense in the middle quarters and then a bottom 5 defense in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I'd have to say the OKC game had to skew that a lot too.
Only 6 games, small sample size. The Memphis game probably swings some of these too. The OKC game, the Phoenix game, you're up by 15 and you lose like in the fourth quarter. That all this stuff swings, but it matters because it all collectively eventually will get to a big enough sample size that these will matter. But their defense has been bad in the fourth quarter.
Playing Christian Wood in the fourth. I'm just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
Not yet. We'll get to that one in the second segment.
Just kidding. But no, they got to get better defensively in the fourth.
Are these that they've had these leads though in the fourth quarter? Is it more encouraging that you think, okay, I think they can fix this fourth quarter defense thing, or is it more exposing like, all right, this team is putting out all they can and like they're still blowing in the fourth quarter. This team is mid. This team is not good enough. Like this team just can't get it done.
I think it's more encouraging. I would much rather say, hey, I'm going into the fourth quarter as like winning that, like we're playing good enough to where we're actually like winning the other 3 quarters. We got to figure out how to close these games. I would much rather do that instead of, guys, we're just losing these 3 quarters. Like we're losing most of the game. And I just prefer that, trying to figure out how to close games well.
Absolutely. And their offense is not off the hook in some of these quarters too. No. Third quarter specifically, they have the 22nd ranked offense by offensive rating, 105.4. It's like their worst quarter by far. So that one's something we really have to look at deeply. But coming up, one of the things I think we can fix in the fourth quarter and the Mavericks can be better is Spencer Dinwiddie be more aggressive. He has to be, because there's a stat here that really stood out to me. how Spencer Dinwiddie has not been even as aggressive as he was last year. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about BetOnline. It's the best place to check out the odds and lines inside and outside of sports. Isaac Harris, Dallas Mavericks versus the Utah Jazz. Mavs at home. Our friend David Locke's going to be in the building, hopefully, to see this one. What's the spread on BetOnline?
5.5.
Mavericks by 6. You are incredible at guessing the lines. Mavs are a -6. Jazz are a +6. You can go ahead and check that out at BetOnline. Here's you'll love this one. Pelicans at Lakers. What's the spread?
Pelicans at Lakers. I'm gonna say Pelicans by 4.
Pelicans 3.5. He's off by 1/2 on both of these. Incredible. If you're as good at picking the lines as Isaac is at guessing the lines, you should do great on BetOnline. They have more than just basketball. They'll have the World Series. They'll have NFL, college football. Their playoff rankings just came out. So if you want to bet on that going into the weekend, go check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. All right, Isaac Harris. I want to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie. I know this is one that you wanted to bring up too. We talked about it before, but Spencer Dinwiddie's got to be more aggressive. If the Mavericks are going to be their optimal self, and right now they have one of the best offenses in the NBA. But the reason why is because Luka's been near perfect. And they can't expect Luka to be near perfect the whole season. He's going to get close. I mean, he's going to be like that picture that everybody probably saw by now of Luka in the supermarket. Look like a Kroger, or maybe it could have been
Where did that picture come from?
An H-E-B, or it could have been a Central Market. It could have been a Whole Foods, where he's staring at the meat options and he's looking behind the glass and he's just staring. He's trying to pick the perfect cut of meat. He can't do that on offense every single possession, right? He can't be picking that every single time. They need Spencer Dinwiddie to step up. Spencer Dinwiddie's usage rate, 21.2% so far this season. Do you know what Spencer Dinwiddie's usage rate was on the Dallas Mavericks last season?
No.
21.8%. His usage rate went down even though Brunson is not on the Mavericks. He's got to step up a little bit. It's got to just be him being more aggressive. I can see him at times on the court trying to get people involved, especially Christian Wood, which you appreciate, but at times he's just got to call his own shot.
Yeah, I'm frustrated right now because I was trying to pull up some stuff on Synergy, but Synergy's new update is insane.
Pick and roll ball handling, very good. That's 31% of his possessions. Isolation, very good. 26% of his possessions. Transition, he's ranked good. 17%.
What's his around the basket numbers?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Just because, it's one of the things I wrote down because that's the Spencer Dinwiddie that we need. He can get to the bucket using his size. At
the rim, like a layup dunk, he's average right now.
Okay.
And so you're talking about getting to the basket. His free throw rate. This is the stat that I found that just astounded me. The lowest free throw rate of his career ever so far this season. He's taken 12 free throw attempts in 6 games. His free throw
that just can't happen.
His free throw rate is 16%. His free throw rate the last 3 seasons was 34%, 37%, 43%. Like it's cut in half what it was in the past. And it's only 6 games. Like, we're still real small sample size. Mavs won 3 of those games. Should have won the other 3. But he's got to be better and specifically more aggressive because of those numbers.
Yeah, because I mean, you like this is insane to me. It's just free throw attempts per game so far over the first 6 games. Spencer Dinwiddie's 5th on the team. Guys above him: Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway Jr., JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is averaging 2
more free throw attempts.
Like, that is absurd to me. Like, Dinwiddie has to be shooting more free throws. He has to get to the rim more. He has to be more aggressive. Drive, get your buckets. That's what he's best at doing. So, yes, it drives me nuts whenever Dinwiddie's not aggressive. If he's on the floor, we need him to be aggressive. Take a little bit of what Tim Hardaway has in him and just give it to Spencer Dinwiddie, because Tim is looking to score all the time. So we need Dinwiddie to do that.
Yeah, and he's been when he has called his own shot, he's been very good. You mentioned synergy numbers. He's ranked very good on pick and roll, isolation, and spot up, and good in transition. And those are like the bulk of his offensive possession so far. Like, he's scoring when he's aggressive. He's just not getting the free throw line. And even if you start looking at his free throws like per game, 2 free throws in the first game, 0 in the second, 5 in the third, 0 in the fourth game against the Nets, 3 and then 2. So he's been to the free throw line 1, 2, 3, maybe like 5 times this season.
That's wow.
That's just not enough for him. What do you think it is with him? Because I do see him intentionally trying to get Christian Wood involved, trying to get Tim Hardaway shots. It seems like he's trying to be more of the distributor than just the straight up scorer that he was last season, when he was the guy like he knew, okay, if I get the ball, I'm going. Like that's my job at this point.
Because obviously I don't know if this is true or not. You're asking what I think. What I think he's doing is he's looking at it and saying, there's only 2 ball handlers on this team, me and Luka. And look at what Luka does. Luka sets everybody up. He gets everybody involved. Look what Brunson did last year. Brunson's going to pass, get the guys involved, all that. And I think he's looking at it saying, all right, last year I was a scorer. This guy that comes off the bench, get buckets, hit the game winners.
I was Tim last year.
Yeah. This year, I need to be Brunson and I need to do this and get the guys involved and run the offense, especially when Luka's not out there. I need to play the Luka role and do this and pass and get into like that. I think it's more of a mental thing than it is any type of like talent or anything like that. I think he's trying to be a role that is different than what he's been instead of being what he excelled at last year, especially when it got to playoffs. Or remember that stretch last year, he's hitting those game winners and the Boston one, you know, and the Brooklyn and all that. And it's like, I want aggressive Spencer Dinwiddie. Dallas has to have him be more aggressive.
He's playing without Luka more this season. And I think and without Luka and obviously without Brunson. And I think that's been a little interesting to see how
Not everybody can play with Luka. We need people to be able to play without him.
I know, but it's kind of interesting to see how he handles that role. Jason Kidd, before the season and even during the season, has just said over and over again, you know, we just want Spencer to be Spencer. Like,
good morning, Isaac.
We just want Spencer to be Spencer. What do you think that means? And do you think he's doing it?
I don't know. It's hard to figure out some Jason Kidd comments sometimes.
The Kiddisms are going over my head sometimes.
I'll tell you one thing that I would like to see, and I'd like to see JaVale McGee like play better. As point blank as that is. As one of my 5, I want to see JaVale just play a little bit better. Is this an injury thing?
Hold on, you want who?
Joel.
I just want him to be serviceable out there and show of like, is there some type of fire in there that shows, all right, this is why we signed it. Because once again, I was a fan of the contract. I don't think it's that big of a deal to pay him $5 million. But we're at 6 games into year 1 of a 3-year deal. And if like he's playing 8 minutes, he played 8 minutes the other night. Like, I want to see a more of a fire out of JaVale over these next 6 games and be a little bit more energetic and show like why Dallas invested in him. Not a ton, $5 million, but still they invested in him to be this upgrade over Dwight. He can't let Dwight beat him out for minutes. He just can't.
Something interesting that when we were talking about Christian Wood yesterday, and yesterday we spent our whole pod talking about Christian Wood and the whole Mavs relationship with him. Jason Kidd yesterday was asked, how strong is the commitment to JaVale McGee at starting center? And he said, strong. We believe in him. He'll be better. Now, I don't know how strong of a commitment it is if you're playing him like 4 minutes to start the game and 4 minutes in the third quarter or whatever it ends up being. But they're still committed to him at starting center, and they're still going to stick with it.
Jason's like, I'm not going back on a promise just yet.
Yeah, 6 games. I got to give it a little bit more than 6. Bro, you know what? He also said in one of these practices that after 10 games, they're going to evaluate their lineups. And I wonder if he thinks that's the number of games when he can bench JaVale McGee.
Nah.
Is it just JaVale McGee being more energetic? Is it just being like him being more engaged? Because I don't know. I'm getting concerned about his fit in the defense in the way that the Mavericks have been successful playing defense.
I'm not worried about the fit. I'm just worried he can block shots and like all of that. It's just he's got to move more. Like that's my only issue with him is it just feels like that DeAndre Jordan vibes of his he's standing in cement, and it's like, all right, he's just a tad bit slow to a few things. He's heavy footed. It's like, all right, which I get. He's getting older and all of that, but we need him to be a little bit more energetic, a little bit more mobile, and defend, be able to get a hand up quicker on some of these guards in the paint and all that stuff. Like, there's no reason Alvarado should be facing him up near the block and still get a layup out of it. Like, there's just no reason that should happen.
DeAndre Jordan, remember what everything that we've said about JaVale McGee, we said about DeAndre Jordan once upon a time. DeAndre Jordan's first 6 games with Dallas, 15 points, 15 boards a game, 3 assists, 2 blocks a game.
That's funny.
I know. I looked at those. That was 4 years ago, by the way.
Wow.
That was a long time. Coming up, a couple other things we want to see from the Dallas Mavericks, including I gotta get more touches for Christian Wood in a specific way. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, I just roll right into those second breaks. I just roll into it. My robot brain takes over. It's like we should have dads do the fake ads. We should do a fake ad for something.
I'm down.
Just to fit in this. Good Lord.
Brought to you by Bass Pro Shop.
Brought to you by Mavs M Hats. Oh my gosh. All right. Christian Wood. One thing I want to see. Let's do some rapid fire here, 10. He's got to get more touches in the pick and roll. They've run 17 plays this season where Christian Wood sets a screen and rolls and gets the ball. That's it. 17 in 6 games. Like they can't. He's gotten a lot of his points. It's seemingly by accident at these spot ups and some of his post up stuff where he sets himself up. You've talked about him like getting the ball at the 3-point line or in the corners or something. Just run a pick and roll with him. It's a great play. It's yielded incredible results in the small sample size that we've seen, but only 17 plays. Like, if you want to get your offense moving, let's not do this Christian Wood thing where he's posting it up against somebody and Spencer Dinwiddie is trying to figure out an entry pass. Like, let's do some pick and rolls. Like, let's run some stuff.
Yeah, I just want him to get the ball closer to the rim. That's
and if he can do that if he sets a pick and rolls all the way to the basket.
And he's shown that he can pass decently well out of the short roll there. And get him the ball there at the elbow as he's, going through the paint with the ball and having to make a decision and at least try it out, instead of, all right, let's toss it to Christian Wood there at the top of the key and go do something.
And they've run more than 17 like screens with Christian Wood, but it's only 17 where he gets the ball at the end of it. So that tells me that it's, it's not too many more than that, but
yeah.
Crazy. Give me another one.
All right. You might think this is kind of like dumb with it already being this place in the season. Can we get Luka a night off?
Wow.
I'm down to do it.
Okay, here's the question though. Can they?
Honestly, it might be good for everybody. Like, let Luka have a rest day. Let's look at maybe that Wizards game on the 10th. I don't know if it's going to be in this, next 6 games.
I was going to say, you want to start predicting the schedule and going through. Let's go through the schedule line by line and
everyone. Maybe on the 16th against the Rockets. It's a second night of a back-to-back. He plays that Clippers game on the 15th.
Who's going to be super motivated to play against the Rockets? Is Christian Wood.
Yes, he will. But Boban. But anyway,
why you got to do that to me? I was having a good day.
Let Luka have a night off, get him some rest because the workload's been so much. And let's see what the other guys got, right? Yeah. What if Christian Wood gets back and gets into a rhythm a little bit? What if Dinwiddie? It's exactly what he needed. He puts up a 33-point game and he's really aggressive. And it's like, man, it's really good to see my shot going down and just really playing aggressive out there for Tim, some of these other dudes. I don't think they would get blown out. So I don't know. That's just one of mine. It's like, let's get Luka some rest. Let's be proactive with Luka rest instead of waiting until he's really hurting on something
and really, really bogged down. And he's already I know that Luka's thing is always dealing with some kind of injury during a game that ends up being nothing, but it seems like even more to start the season so far. He's been hit everywhere. His whole body, I feel like, has been hit by some kind of elbow.
Not as much as Dwight in the face, but
Josh Green. It's time.
Oh, you want more minutes?
Time to give him more minutes. The train has left the station. Let's go. Let's get Josh Green some more. And you know who else? You know who agrees with me? Can we get Josh Green some more minutes?
Nick, that's a good question.
Jason Kidd at practice today said we need to find Josh Green some more time. Who needs to find Josh Green some more time? You're the coach.
We.
Who's this we? Josh Green so far this season, 5 of 9 from 3. Promising. Looks good. He looks more confident in his shot. 6 offensive rebounds in 6 games, which follows my Josh Green offensive rebound principle, where Josh Green will get 1 wild offensive rebound every single game. 7 steals in 6 games so far.
Pretty good.
And 5 assists. That's what Josh Green's going to bring you. He's going to bring you offensive rebounds, steals, assists, and you hope that he's going to hit a 3. And so far, he has been hitting his 3s. And last year, he shot at a decent rate. He's just got to be more confident. That was our thing all summer with him. And so now it's time. What is he at right now? He's at
probably like 11 minutes a game or something.
It's a little bit higher than that. It's 15.4 minutes a game.
Oh.
His shot
does look so much more comfortable. He looks so much more confident shooting the shot. The form looks better. He's not hesitating as much. I'm happy with what I'm seeing in the shot. So I'm down. I don't know how you find those minutes because you're not going to take them away from like Dinwiddie.
You got to take them away from Dorian and Reggie. They can't play as much as they've been playing. Like they've had games where they've played 40 minutes. I'm like, we're in the beginning of the regular season so far. This is not the playoffs.
One of my other ones was I would like for them to find a firm closing lineup. And we've seen Tim, seen Christian Wood, Maxey, Dinwiddie. I would like for them to land on one that they really like that we can get a lot of reps with. I don't think you're gonna get this one. I don't think I am either, but I would just like to see that whatever that closing lineup is, to where then they're getting the reps of they know where everybody's going to be on the floor. They're building that chemistry in those tight moments, and they just, I would like that instead of it constantly changing, but probably won't get it.
What's the lineup you want to see?
Luka, Dinwiddie, Dorian, Reggie, Maxey.
Okay. That seems like the one that they've been going with, and then Kidd went with Wood instead. He's been going with Wood instead of Dinwiddie at times. Or it's been in that same Tim lineup
instead of Dinwiddie.
With the 3 defenders. Yeah, it's been interesting how he's messed with stuff. But yeah, seeing a consistent closing lineup would be good. We've talked about it's more important than
I care way much more about that than I do.
But with the inconsistency of the players, like it was the right move to close with Tim Hardaway the other night.
Yeah, that's where I could be just completely wrong on it. It's that, because then you wouldn't be riding the hot hand of like a Tim or somebody else. But maybe it's majority of the nights, can we have a closing lineup and I think they do. I think they do like Max in that closing lineup and stuff, but I'd like to see a defined lineup get more reps in those close games.
Interesting. Yeah. Let us know in the comment section below what's something that you want to see from
the
Dallas Mavericks. Oh, you got any more?
I was going to say a trade.
Yeah, we had the over on 1.5 trades so far. Who do you want to get traded?
I'm not. No, stop. All right, tonight we're going to play Utah.
Hey, you guys should do that. You guys should do that segment on Studio 41.
Yeah, let me ask.
You and Bobby and Katya should do that segment.
Let me ask Bobby.
All right, power ranking. Who do we want to be traded first? That'd be great.
So, who is the Halloween candy of tonight? Utah Jazz are in town. David Locke's in town. If you see David Locke at the game, give him a shout out. Tell him that Locked On Mavs is the best podcast in the world.
Yeah.
But no, we get to see these ugly uniforms in person.
Oh, what are they wearing? Do we know?
Probably the yellow, right?
Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta
see future Maverick Jordan Clarkson and no, I'm just kidding. But
who's more likely to be a future Maverick?
Jordan Clarkson or
they're wearing their statement edition. That's the black with the yellow lettering.
Oh yeah, ugly.
And the Mavs are wearing the white, the classic white.
Let's just hope that Markkanen doesn't put up like 38.
God, the black with what's worse, the black with the yellow or I guess that's the worst one, right? Or no, the yellow with the yellow with black lettering.
I think they're both ugly.
All right, there you go, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs, making us your first listen. Now go check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game previews, and the take of the day available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. It's Locked On Sports Today. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom!